Well, when Donald Trump makes a speech, the fact checkers come out in droves. Louis Jacobson is one of the most prominent. He's a senior correspondent for Politifact, which holds U.S. politicians and pundits accountable. Louis, thank you very much for joining us. Now, your job is to check facts, or should we say what politicians say. What did you make of Trump's speech?
Well, it was sort of a mixed bag, as these sorts of speeches always are. You have some things where Trump was accurate, where he said, for instance, that the labor force participation rate, how many people are trying to work or are working, is at the lowest level in about 40 years. So that is true. Now, there are some reasons why. It's because of the graying of the baby boom generation after World War II, finally coming of age. And he was also right about the fact that it's the lowest homeownership rate in decades as well. But again, that's got something to do not just with the state of the economy, but also with the changes in lifestyle of folks who are younger. But there were definitely some points where he has raised questions which are really not all that accurate. He called it a hoax that the unemployment rate is around 5%. And the official rate is about 5%. There are alternative measurements that go somewhat higher, perhaps up to 10%. But in the past, not in this speech, but in the past several times, he has said it's as high even as 42%, and that is way out of line. So certainly he said some things that are somewhat accurate, but some are definitely off base.
So how does he score generally on the truthometer?
He has one of the worst ratings of a politician that we've taken since we've been in since 2007, the first year of our operation. And it stayed fairly constant, I believe, since the start of his campaign about a year ago. He has a large majority of his statements have been on our 6-point scale in the bottom half, which is mostly false, and pants on fire. He has had some true statements and some mostly true statements, but it's around 2/3 or so that are mostly false or worse.
I mean, if he has the worst ratings and a lot of pants on fire, how do these misinterpretations of the facts wash with the American public as well as his core constituency?
Well, it's a good question. Either his strong supporters don't care about things he's saying that are wrong, or they still like him despite him saying things that are wrong. And those are fairly unshakable supporters, 35 and say 35%, 40% of voters. But his continuing pants on fires and falses, I think, have made it harder for him to reach into people who are independent or even Democrats to support him, because they see him getting things wrong a lot of the time.
I mean, you've been analyzing what Donald Trump's speeches over the last month, over a year. Is he going to get better or worse, you say, in about 100 days to go?
I mean, it's hard for us to predict. Certainly, he seems to like the kind of freewheeling rallies as his venue. He doesn't seem to enjoy, anyway, the kinds of speeches he gave today, which were probably more correct on average than some of his rallies have been, where he just sort of floats off on tangents and sort of goes, I guess, wherever his thoughts take him. He was much more sticking to a script today. He had teleprompters. It was a speech written by, I would assume, other people. And so those are certainly easier to fact check ahead of time, and they're easier to get right. He seems to not to enjoy those sorts of venues and speeches to the extent he likes the more freewheeling rallies. And it sort of depends on which one he will do more of before now on Election Day.
All right, Politifact's Louis Jacobson, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.